Hello and welcome to MGP384. I'm Kevin. With me as ever, the sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is one of those rare occasions where not only is the podcast a day late, we don't normally record these on a Saturday. This is a bit weird. But it's one of those rare occasions that only happens once or twice a game generation, where we are coming at you on the launch weekend of a major game where all four of us have played said major game. And that's why the podcast is delayed a day, so that we could talk about it and so that we could all play it yesterday. And if you're listening to this in the deepest, darkest future, The Last of Us Part 2 has come out on the PS4 yesterday. And I'm not taking any of your nonsense preamble today because, quite frankly, I want to get this over and done with so I can get back in the house and keep on playing it. So we're going to do a 5-minute review of Last of Us 2, and then that's it. We're wrapping this up.
No, I need to hear.
Much bigger game came out this week, Kev.
What game?
No,
Pokemon
don't
Smile.
ask him.
Never heard of it. Don't care about it. This is The Last of Us Part 2 special. That's it. That's all I care about.
Hot new apps, Kev. Pokemon Smile. Brush your teeth while catching
your
Pokemon.
Face. Shut your face. If you say Pokemon again, we're going to just cut you off and continue as a threesome. This is nonsense.
You should get it. It'll make brushing your teeth a joy. My 2-year-old
What
loves
will?
it.
And I'm hovering over the mute button.
The new Smile app. Yeah, my
You're
7-year-old
taking my
and my
smile
2-year-old
away.
both love it. You'd love it. When you're going to bed tonight, you'll think, Sheepdog mentioned an app. You'll type smiling and then you'll be lost because you wouldn't let me say the other word. And then
Well,
you'll
that's
text
fine.
me and I'll tell you the word. And you will look it
text
up
you.
and you'll sit there with your toothbrush in hand. You'll pick your little hat that you wear and then you'll scrub those teeth until it lets you catch one of the aforementioned things I'm not allowed to say the word of. But it's a great little app. You'll
We'll
love
see.
it.
That sounds
I won't.
excellent.
Plus, just like last night, I don't plan on going to bed tonight because I plan on playing The Last of Us Part 2 because it's great.
You need to brush your teeth though.
Not in the evening. I'm not a millionaire.
Yes, you
I brush my
do,
teeth
Kevin.
once a day.
I've told you
Is that
this.
real?
Oh, I was telling him
Ugh.
most evenings that he needs to go and brush his teeth. If I'm awake and he just comes upstairs, he gets in bed. I have to tell him. He's
I only
annoying.
brush mine
for
3
it.
times a day because I
I've
wasn't
lived
happy
all
with the
my
first job.
life as only a morning brusher and never had any teeth problems.
I
I
don't
go to the
care.
dentist and he tells me that I've got an A3
at you.
colour mark on my teeth. And I looked this up and that does scale alphabetically, Kev. That's not just like, A1 to A50 or something. You can have B grade teeth and whatever. There's
Look
only
at you
2
going to the dentist.
There's
I've
only-
been to the dentist 3 times in the last 20 years.
Yeah, this was for a checkup to make sure I was still awesome. And he
Look
said,
at you
"You're
having
awesome."
a checkup.
Didn't cost me
Mr.
anything.
Fancy Teeth.
Oh, I haven't
Mr.
been.
Fancy
I haven't
Teeth.
been to the dentist for 15 years now.
Yeah, we
Because
don't
I
all
can't-
live next to a
I
dentist.
can't
like Pab.
register with
Yeah.
one. I've tried.
He lectured me more about having the occasional beer than he did actually any teeth problems. He was very impressed. So you probably need to check, Kev, because if you're only brushing once a day, that's disgusting. And you ain't
My
going to
teeth
fill
are
your decks
spectacular.
if you only brush once a day. You need to be getting the word I can't say twice a day to make sure you fill that decks up.
I am more interested now I know there's a point to it.
My 2-year-old
Now-
gets bored after a minute and a half, so I have to stand there pretending to brush my
Minute
teeth.
and a half. They do their entire week's brushing in one go. A minute and a half.
Well, you can set 1, 2 or 3 minutes, and I thought, well, 2's what I do. But yeah,
A quick wipe on each tooth. That's all. it's
Kevin,
needed. Once
stop
a day.
it!
You're telling me they use toothpaste next?
I scrub them
My
until there's
goodness.
blood. I'm just like, come
No,
on.
that's really bad. You shouldn't be doing that. That's really bad.
Getting the scourer out, just get that.
I'm pretty
out.
sure
Oh,
teeth
don't.
don't bleed, sheepdog.
No, mine do. You're not brushing hard enough.
Sounds like you're brushing your gums, not your teeth. Teeth
Get-
don't bleed.
Get the Smile app, and you'll see there's blood everywhere on it.
All right, I haven't got. I've left my phone in the house, I think, because I'm really not
it's in
planning
your
on being out here
trousers.
very long. Huh?
It's in your trousers.
I'm not wearing any trousers. I've
No,
taken them off
but
at the
you took
door.
them off, but they're in there.
Well, then my phone's by the door. It's still no use to me now.
I'm just thinking there were other releases this week that Pab needs to pack that tweet with so he can say that I'm going to say the word, you're not dropping me. Pokemon Smile came out. Also, the Isle of Armor DLC came out. And I can give you a 1 minute
What the
review
hell
of
is
that.
Isle of Armor?
It's Sword and Shield came out last year. the add-on DLC, Isle of
Are
Armor.
you still talking about Pokemon?
Hang on, came out this week.
God damn.
And then another one's coming out in October. This week's one is very, very short and doesn't have very much to it. So it's fun, but I'm regretting the fact that I spent the money on Last of Us and the money on Isle of Armor in the same week, and told my wife it was necessary because I want to play both of them. And then after 2 hours of Isle of Armor, I was like, it's not actually doing very much for me. I could have waited till October. I'm really sorry I blew all this money on games, but I will play it. It is fun, but it's just there's no new Pokemon or anything like that. And yeah, you can consider that the review of the week for
only you could start our Last of Us special with reviews of 2 different Pokemon games before we've even talked about The Last of Us.
Mate,
what is the matter with you,
I've given
man?
you 2 releases that came out this week that I've played
also got
on
2
launch.
releases.
They came out Wednesday, and then Wednesday, and then Last of Us came out Friday. So we're starting this weekend with the 3 biggest things that came out this week.
If you're not careful, I'm going to start talking about the FIFA 21 reveal, and that'll
That's a
really...
reveal, though. That wasn't a release, was it?
No, it wasn't, but it was exciting new features. Guess what? They're going to be doing football. It's going to be slightly better graphically, pretty much the same gameplay, and it's going to be out this year.
You see, Kevin, let me give you a little tip about promotion on the internet. Pablo can now put Pokemon Smile, Pokemon Isle of Armor, FIFA 21, and Last of Us in our tweet when the episode comes out, and people will see that and go, wow, FIFA 21 news.
Well, gee whiz, Stephen. Thanks for the internet tips.
We probably just quadrupled our listener numbers because you put that little FIFA 21 snippet
If
in.
it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know how to get clicks.
Exactly.
Thanks, Sheepdog.
This is why I've got to tell you, mate. You got to learn these things. So, you know, I'm stuffing that content for Pab when he fills it out on little Twitter later.
No, little Twitter.
I don't know where little
Pab?
came from.
For goodness sake, use full fat Twitter. This is why nobody listens. You're faffing about on little Twitter. Goodness
I don't know
me.
where that came from. I was trying to be really formal and it just...
Can we talk about The Last of Us yet?
No!
Oh my
Yeah.
God, what have you got to talk about?
I don't know why it's not been like advertised around, but
Because it's not relevant, probably.
Okay, fine. Carry on.
No,
No,
go
come
on.
on.
What's it?
I purchased and played Desperados 3.
Is that a beer?
Okay.
It came out. It's a PC game from long time ago. Like, I think it's 13 years. It's not like the last one came out. So I bought the new one because I wanted a game because I wanted The Last of Us. And The Last of Us wasn't out for a couple of days. So I bought this instead. And it's...
You're like the opposite of Sheepdog,
I
aren't
know.
you? He's there saying, I regret buying 2 games in a week, whereas Alan is...
Only because I had to ask.
My new game's out in 2 days. I need to buy a game to tide me over.
I bought 3 new games this week.
Okay.
I haven't played them all. So I got
That
Desperados.
makes it all right then, Anna.
It does. It's like a top-down stealth game, but it's set in cowboy time, and then you're going through the sections, and you can have like companions with you, and you can freeze time, and you can like plan an attack. So like one of them, I had to hit a man on the head, climb up a church, hit a bell, and it fell on a man, and it was excellent. It was executed perfectly, and it was good. But it's on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and PC. That's what it is free. If you want a Western game, top down, kind of top down, like you can zoom in and out. It's a bit like Original Sin, Divinity. It's like that kind of up and down. You can see. But yeah, that was fun. I'm trying to get away because I know Kevin's desperate to want to come in. And I also downloaded on my Ruse Switch Burnout Paradise.
This game is 10 years old. Are you really going to talk about Burnout
No,
Paradise?
the only thing I want to say is, like, I downloaded it onto his Switch. I turned it on because because his Switch has got parental controls on it, it kept asking for information from me so I could allow him to play. It's very bizarre. So I got past all that, started it.
Is it 18?
No, I don't think it's 18. It's just, you can go online with it. And he has parental controls for going online. But he doesn't have... I skipped all that, and he doesn't have to go online to play, because I thought it was an online game only, but it's not. But I started it, and right at the start, even before you drive a car, you have that woman talk to you about the burnout place. You cannot hear that woman. The sound on it is atrocious. Like, you cannot hear it. Like, I was like, this isn't... Because, like, I know when he's playing games, I can hear them, which I don't mind because they're not that loud. But this game, I couldn't even hear what she was saying. Like, I knew she was talking, but I couldn't make out any of the words she was saying. That's so really bad. Like, you can't... It's so low. And then I got a car, and like all them kind of sounds again are really muted and low. So I don't know if they need to put an update out or they need to just go in there and fix that. But
perhaps they've just realised the best thing about this game was the music. So quiet it down and just let you listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, all of it. The soundtrack you can barely hear that. It's really I don't know what they've done. They seem to have put a cap on the sound, but you cannot hear it very well at all without putting it like right next to your ear. And obviously, when he's here, there's like I don't know, the TV's on. Or I've got podcasts on, I know he can't hear it because he's got it next to his ear because he knows how it's supposed to sound. So I think they need to just go back and look at that because that's not the greatest. Because obviously, like you said, the soundtrack is great, and obviously like the noises. So he likes the noises. He thinks it's funny, especially when there's like a challenge you go and you just smack cars into each other. I think that's hilarious. But again, he's not going to get that audio feedback from the game if he can't obviously hear it. So they need to fix that. But so bought them too, and then I bought The Last of Us as well.
Oh,
there you go, Kevin.
That came out this week, did it?
I've got to say, if you people who have often said to us we need to review more games and earlier. I think we know the answer now. We need Kev to be trying to rush us on to a point because that gets us all going. Pab, anything you'd like to cover?
Yes,
Don't you even dare.
I have something I'd like to cover before we discuss The Last of Us 2. It's all right. You'll be intrigued.
I doubt
it's
it,
fine.
Pab.
So last weekend, Persona 4 Golden came out on PC.
Yes, it did.
Yes, and I've been playing that game. And God damn it!
Get to the intrigue quickly.
That game has kind of grabbed me now.
Oh
It's
no,
brilliant.
not another one.
Are you singing along to the Junez song?
Yes,
I've got the lyrics to that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, I've only played about 3 hours of it, so I've only just got to the first battle, as it were. So I've been.
Welcome to Persona.
It's so good though. The story, the whole story stuff, and. Yeah, I played probably about an hour of it previously on the Vita, but having it on the PC has been, I have enjoyed it very much so. Whether I'll get
the difference between the normal version and the digital deluxe version? I'm looking at it on Steam now.
It's got a soundtrack with it. I went, yes.
Soundtrack already.
So I went, yes, I will have that. It's got a soundtrack and something else with it or whatever.
That's one of the 3 CDs I've got in the car.
Yeah.
The Persona 4 soundtrack, the Persona 5 soundtrack, the Persona 5 Royal soundtrack. They're the CDs.
He's not lying.
It's because they're not on Spotify, so I have to have them as CDs so I can drive around listening to Persona music.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
That's my life you're describing there. Pretty cool.
But yeah, I've not had tons of chance to play it really because, like I say, Animal Crossing and this, and then obviously Last of Us 2.
If you even start talking about Animal Crossing,
no, we don't need to talk about Animal Crossing. We just know that I continue to stream it, and that is all you need to know.
Kev,
this week
there's a community day today.
If you're about to talk about a third Pokemon game, I'm done.
Okay, I won't.
I am going back in the house and I'm going to get back. I am at such an exciting point at The Last of Us, and I said to Anna, we're going to do a quick 15-minute podcast and then I'm going to come back in. I have left the game paused. We are 15 minutes in. That's it. That's your podcast. Welcome to The Last of Us, everybody. That was your review. You've wasted it talking about a load of trash that nobody cares about.
Oh, God.
So you're enjoying it then?
I am. What I'm enjoying particularly is just how different the experience I'm having with it is to the experience Anna's having with it, and we're both absolutely loving it. We had like a cryptic conversation when we
We did.
put our controllers down just before dinner, where we can't even repeat the questions on here because they're spoilery, but they were so unspoilery, and it was like subtle clues of, but would this word mean anything to you? And it's like 3 words away from what we were actually talking about. And after about 5 minutes of going back and forth, narrowing our clues down, we realised we were stood in the exact same spot. We looked at each other's screens. We were stood on the same balcony. We were at exactly the same point in the game. But it took her nearly 8 hours to get there, whereas I'd got there in less than 4 hours.
Yep.
And she was telling me all this stuff she'd done and all this exploring she'd done and how she'd filled all these parts of her map. And I showed her my map and just like, no, I've literally just done the 4 story beats to get to this point and I'm off. I'm away again. And I just want to, I am determined to get through this game without being spoilt in any way, which means I have to get to the end as quickly as possible. So I don't care about exploring. If it's that good, if the exploration's that good, I will break the habit of a lifetime and go back round a second time and do the exploring.
Wow.
But I have to get to the end of this game before I'm spoiled, because we didn't have these worries with the first one because we played it before it came out and we were all finished before it even came out. So even though people were trying to spoil us within a couple of hours of it being released, we were all like,
someone did yesterday.
Already finished it.
Yeah,
I posted on Instagram to say that I was playing it, and Anna said, "Don't look at your Instagram comments," and she had to go onto my Instagram and delete a comment for me.
Yeah, so whoever did that ruined a story beat for me, which I was not prepared for, but I didn't want... I know how Kevin works. If Kevin sees a spoiler, Kevin won't play. So I took the hit instead.
Well, I kind of... months ago, someone was ranting on Twitter about it, and I just literally loaded my phone. It was the top tweet on Twitter, and I just put my phone down and thought, that's so annoying.
Yeah.
I'm relieved that where I am now, I'm like 2.5 hours in, and I've already passed that bit. So it's just like, okay, that's a relief, because their tweet made it sound like it was a point like over halfway through the game, and I was just, I was furious at the time, but people are just so annoying. Don't do it. It's pointless. Don't talk about it. And you know how I am with spoilers after the way I acted with like Game of Thrones and Endgame and, you know, all the big films that have been out. I just hate it. I hate it when someone says something that gets me thinking. So it got that out of my head very quickly, which is good. I'd almost figured it out myself because I didn't just outright spoil. They just said something that did make me realise. Anyway, I want to point out, because I've spoken to you guys about this separately, but... I'm kind of following Kev's route of the game, but on steroids, because so everyone's been really talking about how amazing the accessibility features on this are. They are insane. Like, they have a whole manual online of, if this is your disability, go read it, or if you can't read it, listen to it, because they made the game for blind people somehow as well, which is brilliant. Go on there, read the instructions, follow the instructions, and it will tell you how to set the game up for your disability. Now, I don't consider motion sickness a disability. I'm not silly, but there's a whole section on there devoted to not making you sick while you play the game. And I put this on Twitter, and I genuinely didn't mean this to sound as lame as it did, but when I saw the section, I felt a little bit emotional that the game had put that much effort in, that they'd made a sheepdog feature. So when I got it, I kind of set it all up, and I've got a little dot in the middle of the screen that I can focus on so I don't start getting sick. It's really got rid of all the blur. All of the camera shakiness is gone. So that's been brilliant. I was playing it, I thought, for longer, but it's following the fact I'm only 2 hours 30 minutes in. I must have only been playing for like an hour and 20 minutes. But I started to feel a bit funny, and I went and looked through it a bit more. And I think I mentioned with Final Fantasy that when I'm having to search for something and I keep turning a lot and looking in corners and then I don't find it, I don't know if it's an anxiety thing, a frustration thing, whatever it is, I start feeling really sick and really fed up because I can't figure out the way out of a room. There's a feature in Last of Us. It's called I think it's a sight feature. So if you can't see the way out or whatever, it kind of draws your attention to what you're supposed to do. You can set it so when you press down on L3, it literally just points her towards where you're supposed to be. It puts a big white arrow and just goes dunk, and then it makes a little noise if you need to jump or anything immediately. So I'm just walking into rooms, hitting the button, it tells me to turn left. I turn left to go through it. I look at the thing, and I kind of ignore it on obvious bits or when I want to enjoy the scene. when I'm going through corridors that I know are going to make me sick, or if I feel even remotely like I'm getting fed up of it, I just press that button and I crack on. And so today I didn't feel even the slightest bit of sickness. There was no problems. I was just getting on with it, and I was loving it. It was absolutely fantastic.
The games industry's come a long way from where we were 5 or 6 years ago, and I got told colour blindness didn't exist at EGX by a games publisher. The amount of he'd be furious, that man, if he saw the accessibility settings in this. They didn't just have a colourblind setting; they had like 4 flavours of it. I had to look up what kind of colour blindness I had to be able to get the right colour blindness setting on.
That's fascinating, isn't it? It's just so good. I mean, part of me wants to have a mess around. There's even a bit in there that says if you are blind, you can skip the puzzles. Just don't worry about the puzzles. If you want to set that, you go through it and let the game just... Because there'll be bits that rely on sight. If it doesn't rely on sight, it will obviously let you do it. Obviously, it wants you to enjoy the game. But if you can't see very well or at all, you can just follow it that way. I can't even... I mean, part of me wants to turn on the full blindness things to just understand how much they've done. Do you get me? Like, it just seems fascinating that they could even deliver this game to a blind person. Unless it just means... sort of impaired sight. Maybe I'm...
Yeah, I had a little look at it on Twitter. It kind of removes all of the detail, and it's just kind of vague shapes. So if you're very partially sighted, you can still interact with it and push the controllers in the right direction, because you can see just the key shapes that you need to be focused on. And then obviously the soundtrack to it is so... And all the audio is so good. I don't know how I would struggle to play this without headphones on, because having the directional sound stuff is absolutely crucial to knowing what's going on, and the feedback you get out of the controller with the vibrations and stuff. I imagine it could still be pretty immersive if you were sat there playing it with your eyes closed, because it's just awesome. It's very, very cleverly put together. Clever.
It's just so good. Even like my wife walked in and said, "This looks good." She was like, "This looks really well." I can't think of the right word she used. She just said the graphics were good, essentially. And I said, I imagine it would look even better on a PS Pro or a PS5, even when that's out. That's part of my campaign of telling her I'm getting one. Mm-hmm. I think the only way they could become more... I mean, they might have already announced this, but the only way I feel like they could become even more awesome is if they announce they're not charging people again for this. Because I know some games are just letting you use the PS4 version on PS5, aren't they? And, was that the Punk...
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Naughty Dog seem more intent on releasing it at the end of a generation and selling you it again 6 months later. But a part of me feels like they just seem to have won everyone's hearts and minds at this point. So perhaps they can let me have it on PS5 as well, and it'll be like bang all the way. It's pretty cheeky.
Now, obviously, this is a majorly story-driven game, so we can't go into it. Similar to when we had Detroit a few years ago, we're going to have to kind of talk in riddles almost, and can't really get into too much of the specifics about... Well, we can't get into any specifics the day after it's come out about how the story develops, and it is the story that makes it as awesome as it is. But me, good old Kev, Mr. I like a story and that's all I care about, I've even noticed a gameplay thing that I thought was good. And for me, this shows when a gameplay thing is worth mention. If bearing in mind all I care about is story, if I've noticed it, and that is the AI, particularly of Dina. Is that the name of your little assistant who's around with you all the time? And how she responds and reacts to what you're doing. So if you go into a situation and you go in there swinging an axe and just attacking people, she'll grab an axe and she'll start swinging. If you hold back and decide to pick people off with your rifle, she'll stand next to you and pick people off with your rifle. If you go into a room and there's 2 baddies and you veer right to take care of that baddie, when you get up off the floor and look up, she's just finishing off the one that was on the left.
I knew you were going to say that, and that really took me. There was a point we walked out and I went right, she went left, and I just thought, wow, normally I'm doing everything.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just a little thing that no game has ever got right before, from what I've seen. And I didn't realise how much it had frustrated me over the years when you're going around in a group and the rest of the group are idiots, until I played this and realised, oh, so this is what it could be like. This actually feels like I'm playing with a real person.
That was quite a strength with the first one, though, because she had to follow you around, didn't she, in Last of Us 1? And I remember her saying it was really good that she didn't just bumble in front of bullets and sponge everything. And they obviously spend a lot of time making sure that key parts work, and I think they've built on that basically, haven't they? They've built a really good AI last time, and they've just doubled down on it and made it even better.
I can sort of understand why it's taken them so long to make.
Yeah,
you say that, but I've in numerous occasions now. That is all cool and what have you. But the amount of times where she has got me in trouble is it's better for this because, like, you remember the previous game and Bioshock Infinite, and you had your sidekick along with you, and the AI would just ignore the sidekick. The sidekick could run right in front of him and just leave him, just ignore him altogether. This one, they do not. I've been crouched up behind vehicles, and then suddenly Dina decides to climb on top of that vehicle and right in front of people, and we're fighting it. We're doing this now. Okay. So I've had to fight my way out of situations she's got me into before. She's also got me stuck in a train car. I went into a train car to see if there's anything inside it, and she was just stood at the doorway and blocked me in. I couldn't get back out of it. She just stood in the doorway, as I said, where we're going. And I was like, well, I'm trying to get out, but I'm blocked in now. So, yeah, it's the AI is very good, but there's still some minor things in there that has been...
You saying that does remind me, there is a bit where I died 3 times in a row because we couldn't decide which one of us was going to get on an escalator first. And we just kept getting in each other's way. And it was just like, for goodness sake, I'll hold back and let you go first. Oh, I'll hold back with you. Fine, I'll run and try and get on first. Oh, look, you're there stepping just in front of me. So, yeah, there was this one time with an escalator where she was just a nightmare. But I think that's because she was trying to follow my lead. And when I held back, she held back with me. And then raced off with... we bumbled through eventually.
I get the feeling I've just done that escalator moment. And,
yeah, I have as well.
I sent her on her way, and I missed the escalator and got mauled almost to death. I bumbled my way out of it. I was running around trying to get on the escalator, and I'm going, he's just gone left of it, just gone left right of it, and I had to fumble my way up the escalator. That was frantic.
Have you guys died many times? Because I'm kind of...
apart from that, not really.
No.
2 or 3 times, maybe.
I had a bit of this. You get to tripwires at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And you can, like, throw a brick to set them off. And there may have been an occasion where I misjudged just how far away from it I was, and I lined up my brick perfectly, threw it, and then died. Because I was stood about 3 feet away from it.
I made the mistake. I had it in my head that clickers could hear but couldn't see, so I was probably fine standing up and just walking straight at one, and it just murdered me because I'd been like crouching around all the humans, all the infected, taking them down, and then I thought, I'll get out of crouch and just take this one down because I had my back to it, but it just heard me come in and massacred me instantly. Which was a bit of a surprise. I genuinely thought I don't remember them being that hard to kill in the old one, and I've got it on the low setting. I think it's because I wasn't crouched. It just heard me and got me. But other than that, yeah, you're right. It's not been too bad. I think there was a bit where I had to run in the snow, and they were just pouring out a little bit, and I just didn't know what to do. I think that L3 button helped me a little bit then, because that would have been a sort of scenario where I just didn't know what way to go. And...
There are certainly times when the only solution is just leg it. There are points when you get overwhelmed to the point where you've just got to run. There is no way to fight your way through. You just got to run.
I feel like there was a very distinctive moment, so when there are substantially more enemies than you can deal with. It's like, this is go time. You cannot deal with it, and they kind of telegraph it quite well. Like, it's like there's no fighting this. There is no dealing with it, and you are going. So they very skillfully navigate you around the game, because there's been very few times when I've felt like I'm being shuffled down a corridor or necessarily know where I'm going next. But there's been 0 moments where I've just wandered around aimlessly. I kind of think I'm casually exploring and happen to end up in the right place. So I don't know if there's multiple routes to the right place each time, or if they've got some really clever, subtle little directional things that are pointing me down the right area. There we go. So directional things for me I've seen is when you say you're in like foliage and stuff like that, and lots of greenery, and it's like it goes dark, and then you kind of I found myself following the light, so you kind of follow beams of light from the sun. You find yourself getting drawn to where the light is constantly. So you go through, you go, like, say you come down into a valley sort of thing. You come at the other side, and there's beams of light kind of lead you in the direction you go, and you kind of naturally just kind of find yourself going that way. I found that most of the time is what I do. About like, I've not really found myself getting lost. I have wandered about a few things on the. So there is a whole section. There's a chunk of this game where you will get a map. I don't know if you'll get another map, but that was like the Uncharted Lost Legacy section. There was in that DLC that they had for, was that a couple of years ago now, where they gave you a map and let you have like a semi-open world, didn't they? And that has returned.
This is where Anna spent double her time compared to me, because she went and did you say you had 13 points marked on your map?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't have that many. I didn't have that many, but I had probably about eight maybe.
I think there's 10 that you can mark, but then there's like 3 that are like not hidden, but just aren't marked. But they're like you can go to them, and then something will happen, and then you can get supplies from it. So they're not, because like Kevin's just went story beat.
Yeah.
I went, okay, there's 2 story beats. What's around that corner? What's down that corner? What's in that open shop?
Yeah,
what's
I
in
did
that
look at
open
that.
You say
window?
I've just gone story beat to story beat. I did spend 20 minutes framing a photograph of a stuffed giraffe that I put on Twitter. That was a good 20 minutes I spent.
Just because I knew you'd spent all that time. I walked past it and thought, I might put a bullet in that. And then I thought,
I was sorting out my filters and my depth of field and getting my lighting just right. And I spent a lot of time on that photograph.
But what I'll say is, I don't know if you've got this, Kev. I don't know if you naturally will come across this now. But you should go. I don't know if you went to the bank in the map. You should have gone to the bank. Anyone?
Why?
And I'm saying is go to the bank, because there is something in there you'll want.
Yes, I went to the bank.
If you've not got this far yet, go to the bank.
You're gonna have to tell me once we're not broadcasting what the thing is, and I'll tell you if I've got it regardless.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if you got it after the fact. I don't know. I think you might have done, but I don't know for certain. But yes, you get. If you haven't got it, then
type it in the Discord chat now, Pab, so I can have a look to see.
Okay,
Well, don't do that because.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it, Sheepdog.
I won't have a choice because it's a group chat. Just wait.
Let me
No, because we're in the recording room. Just don't go in the general chat.
I'm just going to message it directly to you.
No,
Kev, it's easier.
the whole chat. The
go.
listener doesn't need to know. I don't want to see it.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
Oh, so you did get that?
Yeah,
How?
It's in the sort of set piece where you leave that area.
Right.
There was someone lying down in a doorway, and I just took that off.
Right. Okay. So you can get that in that area then.
Okay. Yeah, I sort of stumbled across it and just picked it up off the floor.
Okay, so it's not mission critical. Okay, so it's not. I thought it was something that. But the more I think about it, other enemies probably would have had that as well with them. So
yeah, certainly where I am now, there's a lot of that about.
Right. Okay, so that's fine then. Don't worry about it, Sheepdog. You're all good.
Right. I don't want to be like that anyway. You know, it's my fault that I've not played it as far.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I did find out why I'm getting motion sick is probably not just the settings. It was just that I was sat on this chair right in front of the telly and the room just got really hot because yesterday I had a laptop on because I was following the football. I had the TV right in front of me, I had the window shut because it was noisy or whatever. And my wife came in and was just like, it's so hot in here. And I said, yeah, I feel ridiculous. I feel so ill. And when she sort of sent me out to get some air, I felt a lot better. And then today I made sure I had a fan on, windows open, all lit, everything brilliant. I sat further away and I felt absolutely fine. So that's my new setup. But a lot of people did say to me, are you sure it's not environmental? And I think it is a combination because the frantically running around the rooms kills me on the games. But when I go back to Final Fantasy VII after this, I will try it in the new sort of scenario and see what happens. But hopefully that'll make a difference.
I mean, I bet the PlayStation doesn't help in that situation.
Yes,
it's like a jet engine going at certain points. It's so loud now. I'm like, poor PlayStation. If this breaks at any point in this game, I will not finish it until the PlayStation 5 comes out, because I'm not buying a new one at this stage.
I was thinking that as I installed it, I was just like, you lot are playing on relatively new PlayStations, aren't you? Whereas mine's a launch one. And I was just thinking, if you die on me now, like 95 gig install, which was very confusing, by the way.
It wasn't, though, was it?
It said to me, you need 95 gig to install this game. So I got rid of everything, right? I had 100 gig spare. I stuck the disc in and it said you need 20 gig more to install this game. So I had to get rid of my Spider-Man install, which means I've got another bloody long install in my future. Put a disc in, and then it installed 25 gig, and then did a 2 gig update, and then it didn't do anything more. And I'm guessing that it decompressed that gig, 25 gig, but I don't... is that possible? Like, I have a degree in IT, and I don't know how you would compress 95 gig down to 25 gig. It doesn't make any sense to me, but maybe you can. I don't know. I just feel like there's probably
If that was
a way.
possible, then I imagine I would have only had to have downloaded 25 rather than the 95 I had to download.
Just doesn't make sense, does it? I guess it
came
maybe
on
needs...
2 discs for you cave people who got it on disc, didn't it?
Yes. Well, it come on the install disc and the play disc, so maybe the PlayStation is loading parts of the play disc into memory.
Oh,
while
that's
it
right,
uses it.
yeah. That is right. Anna messaged me that on Friday, asking me about the disc. And I just played it, and I got to a certain moment, shall we say, and I was like kind of shell shocked and like and then Anna messaged me, and I was streaming it, and I went, oh, Anna's just got to this moment. This must be point. Anna's got to it, and I was like, oh, Anna just wants to know about the discs. We're all right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It was funny. It was a funny moment yesterday, because I was.
I was surprised how long it had taken you to get onto it, Anna. Like, it hadn't installed for you, had it, and stuff like that.
No, I had to yesterday, Candy, it came at like 9:30 in the morning. Obviously, I'm not going to play it with Rue around because I heard it was very dark. Yes, very Andy's dark. 16, but he's a little 16, bless him. So we took him out, then we went and had Wagamama, and then we came home, and then I turned it on, and it had it installed, and I was just like, I put it on rest mode. I thought rest mode meant it would still
Mine was all
thing.
Downloaded, ready to go. I was so tempted to start
when you
playing
said to me I stuck it on rest mode, I was like, I didn't know I could do that. I thought rest mode turned it off.
No.
And it turns out it did.
No, so...
Well, mine downloaded on rest mode.
Yeah, I think it's just the disc thing. Okay. I think downloads and updates, if it's in rest mode, just do it automatically. Like now, in my PlayStation's in rest mode, as soon as I turn it on, I'll be in the exact same place as when I paused it. I'll just turn it on and my game will be there. It's
like you save in the same space, though, which is fine, isn't it? I mean, it takes a little while to load, but I should probably rest mine while I'm playing it, because mine takes a little while to start up to get to the point. I imagine yours probably comes on quite quickly when you put it in. But
I'll turn this on when we finish, and I'll be in the game
instantly. But what I mean is when you turn it on, like say you power back up, mine takes like a minute or so, maybe not a minute. It feels like a long time for it to just come on. But I know that it's because I'm basically using an abacus now.
Oh, that's so
mental.
sad.
It feels mental that this machine feels old now.
Yeah.
And it is old now. I feel like since we've done this podcast, that's been
antique.
Sorry?
It's a lovely little antique.
But we're seeing so many antiques pass us by since we've started this podcast, so it's like it's just become ridiculous now.
That's because we basically invented video game podcasts.
We did. Anything more we need to say about this game?
No, can I go back and carry on playing?
It's very good.
People should get
it. It is very good. It is very good.
Oh, if you've got a PS4 and you haven't bought this game, just throw your PS4 in the sea. You're wasting your life. You don't deserve a PS4 if you're not going to play this. Just stop it, get rid of it, give your PS4 to someone who'll treat it right and buy this game for it. You absolute monster.
They might need to get the first one first if they've not played it, because that's well worth doing. It does catch you up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, you get a catch up at the start, so you're probably fine. It refreshes
you, yeah. But even then, it's definitely the first one was the best game at the time, wasn't it? And there's not been many games better since. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. It's meant to be. I've read out how many hours it's supposed to take. Is that a problem to say? Do you think?
Well, I read 25 hours.
Yeah, I'd read 30 actually, but I imagine
I would like to think it will be quicker than 25 hours. I'm planning on getting it done by bedtime tomorrow, and I'm streaming tomorrow evening. But if I don't get it done this weekend, I don't know when I'll get to go back to it.
I think you will. You'll do it at the weekends or in the evening.
Yeah. Well, I stream most evenings, don't I?
In the daytime on a Tuesday.
I work in the day. Yeah, so I just need to get it done tomorrow, which is why we need to wrap this up.
Cool. All right. Well, it's a great day to get it.
Sheepdog's just going to say bye. He's gone. Sheepdog's done. He's off. There you go then. That was a super short Sunday edition. Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
no,
Sunday.
because they're getting it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Just jumping into my outro.
Sorry.
What is this? You're like monsters. So if you want to send spoilers to Sheepdog, you can do that on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at Lelujo.
I don't. People know I don't read my Twitter. You can follow me at Lelujo.
I'm at RB6K. Please don't spoil it.
I'm at Mr. Lujo, and also don't spoil it.
I'm at Pab1986 on Twitter and Twitch.
Oh, Pab does Twitch.
I do.
To mention that, Pab.
Doesn't mind spoilers either, apparently.
Yeah. Well, he's king of the spoilers. He's literally streaming himself playing it. He's spoiling it for hundreds of people.
Yeah.
You absolute monster.
Evil.
See you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, folks.